What's up, y'all? It's popping this D. About to react to this vid by Blackie Speaks. This is Nas is Not Relevant. 21 Savage. Lord. I know a lot of people were talking about this whole situation. Let's see what he has to say. Let's watch.
Now, these next few videos that I'm about to drop is going to be a bunch of stuff that happened over 2 to 3 weeks ago. Some of y'all might have noticed, others might have not.
This was more
I had to take some
recent.
personal time off due to some personal reasons, but I'm back now and I'm about to fire out these videos like crazy. Got a lot of videos dropping in the next week. Turn on the notifications. Anyway, let's talk about this 21 Savage news from the other day. 21 Savage the other day made a pretty crazy statement about one of the OGs in the genre of hip-hop. Nas the other day dropped the 3rd edition of King's Disease. The project is crazy, by the way. Definitely one of the better hip-hop albums of this year for sure. And it's crazy to see a guy like Nas, who's 49, out-rapping all these young rappers. Obviously, this is a different caliber of rapper, so, you know, comparing one of the big dogs to the little puppies, that's like cheering on a grown man for stealing candy from a little kid. You don't get no cool points for that. Post this album release, there's been a lot of conversations about Nas this week, and 21 Savage happened to join in on one of those conversations on Clubhouse, actually. Since we're talking about Clubhouse, y'all already know some bullshit is gonna be said, right? You already know the deal. I don't even have to explain it. But 21 Savage was in a Clubhouse session along with...
I logged on to Clubhouse one time when I got invited, and I never went back. I was like, this is stupid. I'm out of here.
With a couple other people, and
I didn't know
they
niggas
were
were still on
discussing
there.
the OG Nas. The title of the Clubhouse session / debate was, is Nas the greatest rapper or what? 21 Savage made a pretty wild statement, if I do say so myself. And what 21 Savage said isn't wild in the sense that there's absolutely no truth to what he said, because, you know, there's actually some validity to what 21 said.
I was about to
but
say.
I heard what he said, and the first thing that popped up in my mind wasn't the statement itself. It was that he actually said what he said publicly in the way that he said it.
I didn't
Let me
hear
play
it.
the clip right now. It's like 15 to 20 seconds.
What y'all saying relevant though? I don't feel like he's relevant. I just feel like he got
none of them are relevant.
Man, I don't feel like Nas is relevant.
That's the other thing I hated about it. Everybody would talk over each other. Like I can't even understand what nobody's saying. This is ghetto. That's how I felt on Clubhouse. This is ghetto. I'm out of here.
That shit was ass.
Hold on, who said none of them are relevant?
One mic, No,
That's how we say it. One mic.
No, he's not relevant. He just has a loyal ass fan base.
Thank you.
He just has a loyal fan base that and he still make good ass music. But
They
it's
don't
like
have a core fan base,
relevant. What?
So, just in case you didn't hear exactly
I
what
need to
21
hear
Savage
more.
said, what he said was word for word. What y'all saying, though, I don't feel
'Cause
like
he's
he's
not.
relevant. I just feel like he got fans, 21 Savage said, in relation to Nas. He's not relevant. He just has a loyal-ass fan base. He just has a loyal fan base. And he still make good-ass music. The audio got cut off after that, but you could clearly hear that 21 Savage was about to double down, actually triple down on his statement. Once again, I got a couple things to say about this.
I don't think he
Here's
needs
the
to
thing,
say
and
that,
just
though.
to be fair to 21 Savage, let's actually talk about the valid part of his statement first. If you Google the word relevant, this is the definition of it. The first definition, closely connected or appropriate to
The
what is
second
being done
part.
or considered. The second definition, appropriate to the current time.
Appropriate to the current time, period, or circumstances. People do not discuss Nas like that at all. I don't hear people saying, oh, put on that Nas, or, oh, have y'all heard Nas' new song? I don't hear that conversation occurring, ever. Let's stop.
Time, period,
Like
or
he not
circumstances
telling
of
the truth.
contemporary interest. I want to explore the second definition of the word, and I want to start off by saying this. 21 Savage has a valid point. Judging by the actual definition of the word as it relates to Nas, since he's a rapper who's been around since the 90s, and since the majority of Nas' audience consists of mostly grown folks, to this new generation of hip-hop fans, Nas is in fact not relevant. The grown folks part is really important because what demographic of people is actually contributing to all the success hip-hop as a genre is seeing right now? The right guess would of course be the young demographic. Young people are the ones propelling hip-hop to the top right now. That's why 95% of the most popular rappers in the industry right now are all young people. Young people are running shit in hip-hop right now, and that majority for the most part isn't supporting Nas. So coming full circle from that perspective, 21 Savage is right. Nas is not appropriate to the current time of hip-hop. However, and this is when we get to the other side of this conversation, although Nas is irrelevant to the current generation of hip-hop fans,
He's a legend.
when it comes to a guy like Nas, that's not even a conversation we should entertain because, you know, unlike all these rappers out here like 21 Savage, Nas is actually bigger than this. He's not relevant to the current time conversation. And as a matter of fact, right, Nas is relevant. Maybe not to a certain demographic of hip-hop, but in general, to the genre of hip-hop, Nas has cemented his legacy in the genre to the point where his name transcends this he's not relevant conversation that 21 gave his piece on. Also, this is a very provincial statement that 21 Savage made, especially given Nas's status. It actually exposes 21's lack of perspective when it comes to the placement and importance the forefathers in the culture have. If you think Nas and not relevant is a relevant perspective to even have, it tells me everything I need to know about your outlook towards the genre that you're making money from. Just because a guy like Nas isn't being brought up in the conversations that you're having privately with your peers, that doesn't make Nas irrelevant in the genre.
Exactly. He's one of the pioneers, and you would not be here if it wasn't for him. So I understand that.
Especially in the grand scheme of things. Because if we add all the time Nas has put in the game, and we put it against the time that you and some of your peers have under your belt, you guys are still going to come up short in comparison to Nas, because he's actually been doing this shit for the last 30 fucking years. When we talk about Nas, we don't have these petty conversations regarding whether or not he's relevant. Even entertaining a conversation like that and putting the sentence, he's not relevant, next to his name, when this is a guy who laid the damn blueprint y'all are eating off of, is very disrespectful. You get what I'm saying? Now let's get to another part, because here's another issue with what 21 Savage said, and I can't believe people don't really see this perspective. 21 Savage is 30 years old. I can't believe 21's 30. Anyway, 21 Savage, he's 30. Nas is pushing damn near 50. 49 to be exact. Why do you, as a rapper who blew up 6 years ago, feel the need to give your stance on a guy who's been doing this at an extremely high level for almost 30 years? On top of that, Nas is 19 years older than 21 Savage. So when you talk about Nas, 21 Savage, you gotta tread lightly, and you gotta look at how you address a GOAT like Nas. You gotta make sure that whenever his name comes up in a conversation, if this is a person who laid the foundation for the genre that you're making millions off of, which that's Nas, right? You address him with a lot of respect. And here's the thing, you lead with that respect, meaning this: if you're a rapper and you're making millions off of the genre of hip-hop, when the people who paved the way for you and laid the blueprint for you to eat off of come up in the conversation, you lead with praise, admiration, respect, homage, and love. You don't lead with they're not relevant. That's disrespectful from where I stand. And some people might hear what I just said and say, well, you know, that's the conversation that we're having in a clubhouse session. And that right there is actually the issue. The fact that 21 Savage, as a rapper who's making money from the culture, millions actually, the fact that he felt comfortable enough to jump on a clubhouse session and he said what he said, aka questioned Nas's relevancy in the genre of hip-hop, that is an issue. Also, I don't understand why 21 Savage is even present in a space where they're disrespecting Nas, because if you didn't hear, someone in that session said that a Nas project was ass. I'm wondering why 21 Savage was even entertaining the conversation at that point, because even if you didn't say it, it does reflect on you, because you're the one who's present in a space as a rapper who's making money from the culture where they're openly disrespecting Nas. But the question still stands: why does a rapper who's been relevant for a handful of years feel comfortable sharing his unneeded opinion on an OG like Nas? That's what I want to get to the bottom of. There's this thing called knowing your place in a given space, and that means, you know, if you're a rapper from this generation, unless you're going to be praising Nas, you don't speak on Nas.
Period.
Unless you're going to be praising Eminem, you don't speak on Eminem. Unless you're going to be praising Wayne, you don't speak on Wayne. And I'm saying this because I've seen too many people in the genre, rappers, speaking about the OGs in the game without putting respect at the forefront. There are certain rappers in the culture who I don't even want to hear what a new rapper has to say about him, because, you know, why does your opinion even matter? By the way, 21 Savage is not new. I'm speaking in general terms. Unless you put the time in and you got the accolades and influence to back it up, your opinion of the OGs should not be vocalized, because you really don't have the authority to speak on them unless you're going to be paying homage like you're supposed to. Anything else that comes out of your mouth, I look at that and I say, this is someone who doesn't respect the people who came before them. And you know, when it comes to a lot of the rappers who came out post 2015, them not having respect for the GOATs in the genre, that's not unheard of. I mean, did y'all forget what Kodak Black said a few years back? If you don't know what I'm talking about, when Kodak Black initially came out, he did this interview with XXL where he said that he's better than Tupac and Biggie. Kodak also once started a very unnecessary beef, literally for no reason, with Lil Wayne, and told Lil Wayne to eat his ass and to fight him.
I'm better than Tupac and Biggie. So that is, I see that.
He seems like he got dropped on his head as a baby, so I really don't, you know, take anything seriously that comes out his mouth.
That, so now you know.
Hey, listen here, man. Tell Lil Wayne.
He like his breath stink.
You know what I'm saying? We finna get in the brain. We finna fight. Me and Lil Wayne. We're finna knock that stupid ass nigga out.
Lil Wayne can eat my ass.
Being honest, I just don't think people care too much about standing up for the forefathers. This new generation of hip-hop fans mostly consists of a younger audience, and they don't really feel inclined to stand up for the OGs. A lot of rappers are essentially teaching their fans that it's okay to disrespect the forefathers.
Yeah,
Best believe that they're having a direct influence in the mistreatment of all the artists who made hip-hop what it is today. By the way, 21 Savage put up this tweet after the backlash and said this: "I would never disrespect Nas or any legend who paved the way for me. Y'all be trying to take stuff and run with it." To be fair, 21 Savage, no one took anything and ran with it. You said that Nas was not relevant, and we're all just responding to said comments. That's all we're doing here. The bottom line is this: don't speak on the OGs unless you're going to praise them. Anything that doesn't match that energy, that is disrespect to me, plain and simple. You can't make a statement like Nas is not relevant and not expect us to look at you sideways, especially considering the fact that the only reason why you're relevant is because of the work he put in, and I'll just leave it at that. Anyway.
Nigga! This nigga was spitting this entire fucking video. I agree with everything he said. I do understand what 21 Savage was trying to say. Nas isn't relevant, you know, in the rap climate today amongst the newer generation. But so fucking what? Like I said earlier in the video, he didn't even need to say that. Like, why even entertain that conversation? It doesn't matter that he's not relevant amongst the teeny boppers. He's still a huge deal. He's still an icon, a legend. And this is coming from someone who doesn't even listen to Nas. I've been very vocal about this and stating that I don't listen to like lyrical deep rap. That's not what I'm interested in. I like feel good, fun, basic ass rap. That's the type of rap I like. I like 21 Savage's rap. Let's be clear, because it is very shallow, surface level, and I can listen to it at the gym, get lit. I can party to it. That's the type of shit that I listen to, but I'm not going to sit here and act oblivious to the influence that rappers like Nas has had on rap. And these little mumble rappers would not be a thing if it were not for Nas and Jay-Z and Tupac. You feel me? So for him to even fix his mouth and say that, I feel like was really ignorant. Like, you could have kept that to your fucking self. So what? He's not relevant to fucking Gen Z. Who cares? Who cares? If they were discussing his album, like, there was no point for you to be like, well, he ain't relevant. So he's not relevant in, you know, today's climate, but so fucking what? He's still such a huge figure in rap. Like, what are we talking about? So I think that was a really stupid comment to make. I don't agree with him making that comment whatsoever. Like, stop. I didn't know Nas released an album, though. And that goes into his point that Nas isn't relevant because I don't hear people talking about Nas like that. And I'm not personally into his music, but again, watch your fucking mouth when you are talking about rap legends. They paved the way for you. Like, what are we even talking about? Anyway, y'all let me know what y'all thought, though. Let me know what other videos you want to watch, and I'll see y'all on the next one. Bye!